Hello, HalfPint here, and I just wanted to say real quick, if you've been enjoying my content, please remember to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube and follow me on Twitch so you can always catch us when we're live and see more content. Also, if you are new here, welcome in, and if you're enjoying the video, please remember to like it because it helps me out a lot. I also post funny clips and other things on TikTok. All the links are in the description below, and thanks again. Now let's get into the video.
Obviously, Ye fully embraced Nick Fuentes, and who is a known Nazi, and he sat down with Tim Pool. Was that yesterday? And like stormed out of his podcast. Tim Pool being another Nazi that's pretty well known, but Donald Trump had a dinner at Mar-a-Lago where he sat down with Nick Fuentes, Ye, and who else was there? I'm not sure, but it's forced this crazy situation where the tie between actual Nazis in the Conservative Party has never been clearer, or at the very least, the Nazis and Trump. It's never been clear. The line is been laid out in front of everyone, and that has forced a situation where the GOP has to acknowledge, I mean, the close tie. They should also acknowledge the fact that like something about their rhetoric is attracting Nazis. I doubt they will, but it is highlighting to the rest of us that you know, the modern conservative platform is appealing to and furthers the agenda of Nazis, actual Nazis. Yeah, so we're gonna take a look at Rachel Maddow covering that and a couple other things covering that.
We've got the leading presidential contender for the Republican nomination in 2024 this holiday weekend having a nice Thanksgiving dinner with Kanye West, the rapper who just lost all of his corporate sponsorship deals when he started saying he was going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jews. The leading Republican presidential candidate, their last president, Donald Trump, just hosted Mr. West this weekend. And also this man for a what was apparently a very nice Thanksgiving dinner at the former president's home.
When you look at these things like abortion, it's popular. People like
This is Nick Fuentes.
abortion, hate it, but it's true. And you can thank the Jewish media for that. Abortion's popular. Sodomy's popular. You know, being gay is popular. Being a feminist is popular. Sex out of wedlock is popular. Contraceptives are, that's all popular. That's all. That's not to say it's good. That's not to say I like that. Popular means the people support it, which they do. And it sucks, and it is what it is. But that's why
He's so fucking disgusting. I don't like he doesn't even look like a real person to me, but maybe that's just because like I genuinely do not understand how a human being could like operate on this level of hate. But it's like I don't know. It's deeply disturbing for me to look at him and listen to him. He's like it's like it's truly, I feel like talking to Nick Fuentes or people who are about as lost as he is, like unsavable. It's like talking to a brick wall that's like combative. It's insane. The things that can come out of his mouth unapologetically and so matter-of-factly without the slightest hint of like, I don't know, empathy or embellishment, it's actually like looking evil straight in the face.
we need dictatorship. That's unironically why we need to get rid of all that. We need to take control of the media or take control of the government and force the people to believe what we believe.
That's why we need a dictatorship. Force people to believe what we believe. We need a dictatorship, unironically. So that clip is from People for the American Way. They have a project called...
Like I was saying, an actual Nazi. Not just kind of a Nazi. Not just maybe a little bit, or like he sympathizes with them a little, or something like that, or he's just anti-Semitic. No, he is a Nazi. A full-on actual Nazi.
called Right Wing Watch, where they monitor and document what's going on the ultra-right, on the far-right fringe. And that's a great public service all of the time. I'll tell you, it becomes a fire alarm system for the whole country when someone from that fringe, someone from that far out on the political spectrum ends up having a Thanksgiving dinner with the Republican Party's leading candidate for president.
Not only that, a former president. That's insane. Like, it used to be not a big deal, and I see what you're saying there. Yeah, it wasn't as big of a deal when Nick Fuentes was just this crazy no-name dude, you know, out there somewhere spouting his crazy shit to his small group of disenfranchised followers, you know? I guess not disenfranchised. What's the word I'm looking for? His disaffected youth followers, you know? Like, it's just like angry white young men for the most part. And it's fucking, and I only agree with that somewhat. I mean, like, I feel like we as a nation should be operating in a way where Nazism is squashed as an idea, and not even just with respect to like Jewish people. I think it should be very clear with our morals, our history, and, you know, everything. Is this so hard to say? Like, or not even so hard to say. Is this so hard to accomplish, by the way? That, like, we agree that, like, tyranny and authoritarianism and dictatorships are not going to work and lead to horrific things. And what's crazy is we have such a giant section of the country that, like, throws that shit around as a threat. The looming threat of like what socialism and communism bring, you know, like they always love to point to like Stalin and shit like that when it comes to communism. But here we have someone who is about as close to an actual authoritarian person or promoting the dictatorship in America. We have that, and they unironically support the conservative party, and yet the conversation is always about how socialism will bring us there. It's insane. I really don't understand. I appreciate you, Yenna. Always nice to have a mod around. You're the best. But yeah, I don't know. It's, and the fact that like Trump sat down with him, I don't know. I could not believe that was happening. I believe that he sat down with Ye. I guess that made sense. What blew my mind about that, too, is Ye asking Trump to be his vice president a few days after Trump announced that he was going to run for president. That was crazy. I can't believe he thought that was going to go well. For some reason, he had Sneeko there. I don't even want to talk about Sneeko because he's, honest to God, not worth talking about. He's just, like, trying to be cool, I guess. Of what he thinks is cool. I have no idea what the fuck Sneeko was doing there.
Here's the pathway. We have one more election where white people can make the decision. The white people got to make the right decision, and then Trump's got to get in there and never leave. That, to me, at this point, is the pathway. It's time to shut up, elect Trump one more time, and then stop having elections. We have got to talk about the fundamentals of our worldview and what it would look like to build a society based on our distinct worldview. It looks like a society where women don't have the right to vote. And it looks like a society where boys and girls get married as teenagers and start having kids, and they don't use birth control, and they don't use contraceptives, and they have big families and a high birth rate. And it looks like women wearing veils at church. And it looks like women not being in the workforce. Banning gay marriage is back.
It's like the mad ravings of a man who was transported from like late 1800s, 19th century, and just like bloop, like he just like showed up in our time, and he's just furious about all the freedom that exists, especially for women. Apparently, what the fuck? How do you unironically say any of that? I can't even. And what's like the most horrifying part of this whole thing like, it's not just his face or like the words he's saying. It's the fact that he has listeners and people who hear this and like get amped up in their car and are like, yeah, like that's the most horrifying part to me. There are people he is actually coercing effectively to his side. It's created more and more of a problem for the rest of us dealing with, like, you know, situations where a bunch of Nazis get arrested in a truck because they were lined up to go commit a terrorist act. Shit like that, where like their agenda is becoming more and more popularized and normalized to the point where it's having incredibly real effects on the country's citizens and our safety. And obviously they have intentions to affect the government. It's, oh my god. How do you unironically listen to this and just go, yeah, we do need dictator? I mean, like, you're just so far gone at that point, right? So far gone. If you actually unironically think a dictatorship is what this country needs, like, you're gone. You're gone. And it what fucks me up is those people, they're so horny for this old America, so hell-bent on capturing this old America where freedom mattered and everything was the way it should be, that they want to remove just about every freedom in order to get us back to that place. You've lost the concept. Like, you've already, like, fucked this up. If you're willing to sacrifice it all just for the sake of getting back to it, or your definition of it, you never had it, and two, you don't understand what it is that you're, like, trying to achieve. Because, like, the entire idea of America was freedom, but it was also for an ever-living document to be improved as time went on, and it has been. To walk back a lot of that is to directly shit on progress that we've made in making the nation more free and more great. So, like, I don't even understand from, like, a patriotic traditional America standpoint how you could, like, support it, but maybe I'm just thinking a little too clearly.
Back on the menu. Banning sodomy is back on the menu. Banning contraceptives is back on the menu. And basically, we're having something like Taliban rule in America in a good way. We're having something like a Catholic...
How do you unironically say we have something like Taliban rule in America in a good way and then link it to the Catholic Church? Like, the only thing I can applaud here is the fact that he's acknowledging that Catholicism and, like, Islam are very closely tied together. They tie back to the same patriarch, Abraham. It's just a matter of which son do you trace to. So, like, it's, like, not surprising to me that he linked those two because they are closely related. But, like, people listen to this. People listen to this and think, yes, we need our own version of Taliban rule here, but, like, a good version. Fundamentally, that is not okay. Fundamentally, that removes freedom of religion, which is covered under, you know, freedom of speech. Like, you're literally chipping away at one of the fundamental parts of America, or trying to, for the sake of it, or because you think it's the best way to do. And these are the same people that tell people to, like, go home, like, when they think someone's foreign, or, like, you know, to, like, find somewhere else, like, just leave the US if you don't like it here. I can't get over this. Like, what the fuck? And Trump sat down, a former president sat down with this guy and, like, fucking celebrated Thanksgiving, which is the perfect holiday to celebrate with this piece of shit. But they sat down together and, like, hung out, shot the shit, and he's saying, you know, in the fallout that, like, oh, I didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. I had no idea who that guy was. And that's on you, Playboy, if you didn't. Maybe you should, like, be aware of who you're having sit at your table, because you should know it fucking matters. You fucking idiot.
Like, Taliban rule
God.
in America. Who cares? You know, enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, they had to drink out of a different water fountain. Big deal. Oh no, they had to go to a different school.
Okay, so we're just gonna pretend that the water fountain was of equal quality. We're just gonna pretend that the school had equal funding. It didn't have like horrible learning conditions, like lack of equipment, mistreatment of staff and like children. Like, are you what are you fucking oh oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's so disgusting.
Water fountain in that famous picture was worse. Who cares? Grow up, drink out of the water fountain. It's water, it's the same, you know.
What do you think of the Flint, Michigan water? Drink out of that water? Is that water the same? Is that what you think? Jesus fucking Christ. I feel like he's just some edgelord that like grew up and molded that into his politics and accidentally found footing.
And
being a goddamn Nazi.
You know, even if it was bad, who cares? Who cares?
Even if it was bad
in general, we all agree.
It's better. It was better. Jim Crow, segregation, it was better. Almost all of that was posted by People for the American Way, their project Right Wing Watch, which monitors stuff like this on the far right, which is usually only of interest to people who study the far right, but it suddenly becomes totally relevant to everyone else in the country when a guy like that suddenly ends up invited to the home of the Republican Party's leading presidential candidate to have a private Thanksgiving dinner with him. That guy and former President Donald Trump. I should tell you, he is also a Holocaust denier. I'm not going to show you those clips of him denying the Holocaust, but they're there. He not only explicitly calls for the imposition of a dictatorship in this country, he's explicitly praised Hitler. He says Jewish people should not be allowed to participate in the U.S. government. And now he's having a nice private dinner with the man most likely to be the next Republican nominee for president of the United States.
It doesn't get much more mask off. I really don't understand how it was so hard for Trump or Ye to condemn this guy. Oh god, like especially Ye. Like Ye still saying like, hey, I'm not an anti-Semite. They keep labeling me an anti-Semite. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You literally hang out with a Nazi. Like, shut the fuck up. You and a Nazi enjoy each other's company and think each other make valid points. You are an anti-Semite. You got. I don't know what to tell you. You fell down the rabbit hole and you're now like dick writing an actual Nazi and you brought him to talk to the fucking former president. You're an anti-Semite. I don't know what to tell you. Like, get over it. I don't know. In the GOP, I this isn't even really addressing what they're saying about it. I'm gonna look into that after this, but like they're I'm sure falling apart a little.
So yeah, back to work on this split screen. And in politics, we've got sort of normal or normal-ish questions right now about what are the Democrats going to get done in the lame duck period, and are they working enough of the days in the lame duck period? Are they acting with enough urgency given that they're about to lose control?
I don't understand why they're calling it the lame duck period. Usually I feel like that's reserved for the second term, isn't it? Isn't it usually reserved for the second term, second half of that term for a president, because they're never going to be president again, so no one's really letting them get shit done? Maybe it's just generally the last 2 years, but I don't recall hearing the term lame duck when Trump was in office at any point.
Control of half of Congress. Will there be a government funding bill in time to avert another dumb government shutdown? Will the House Republican leader get enough votes to become speaker on the first ballot? I mean, we've got all these sort of normal politics headlines here on Earth One, but it's all simultaneous and adjacent to the DEFCON 3 on the Jews guy and the Holocaust denier eating turkey and stuffing with the leader of the Republican Party at his home. And I feel like since this came to light over the holiday weekend, most of the talk in political circles has been about whether or not this is bad for Trump, whether or not this is going to reflect poorly on him as the leader of the Republican Party.
It should reflect poorly on the entirety of the Republican Party. The fact that they've even like propped up a person to a point where like the leader of their party is now The fact that the leader of their party was someone who was capable of sympathizing and sitting down with and enjoying the company of Nazis, the entire Republican Party, the entirety of the GOP should take a hit from this. It should be an eye-opening moment for tons of people who identify as conservatives, tons of people who have previously voted conservative in recent years. It should be an eye-opener for all of these people that, like, this party does not discern its candidates enough or their morals and values enough, does not like actually look at these things enough to determine whether or not it is possible they will end up supporting Nazis. Are you kidding me? Like, that's, I can't even believe we're talking about this in fucking America. Like, this is insane. It's a horrifying reminder that nothing is guaranteed. And, like, just because we have a democratic system now does not mean we will always have one, and that it isn't capable of evaporating kind of quickly if we let things snowball out of control, if we don't actually hold people accountable and call shit out when it happens.
Whether this is something that might hurt him in some way, whether this might be a mistake for him, or whether this will slide off him too. Okay. The reason groups like People for the American Way monitor guys like this and keep track of what they are saying and doing is not just because a guy like this might have an incidental effect someday on some real politician who interacts with them. No, the reason that it is worth keeping track of Holocaust-denying racist agitators who advocate race war and, I kid you not, burning women alive in America. The reason
my God.
The reason you monitor guys like that is not just because of their potential future impact someday on other people who have power.
It's also because they might be fucking violent.
Because of their power and because of the damage that they want to do. And guys like that, neo-Nazi agitators getting a big proverbial hug, getting a private audience with the Republican Party's likely next presidential nominee. Yes, sure, that reflects on that political candidate and on his party. But more importantly, it's great for the Nazis, right?
Yeah.
It
validates their movement. It makes it look like that they can shift closer to the center of the public eye. It does so much to, like, actually help them. Like, people have talked about how, like, in the wake of Ye saying all this anti-Semitic crap, that recruitment is on the rise for Nazi groups and white supremacist groups. They piggyback off of, like, celebrities, anything they can, in order to, like, spread their message and effectively market it to disaffected people who they can, like, you know, usher into their little cult. And this is that on a much bigger scale because it's the former president. Like, it's like the people who held up the sign in LA were giving the Nazi salute a few days after Ye went on his rant saying, you know, Ye has a point about the Jews. Like, imagine what's going to happen now in the wake of a fucking prominent Nazi sitting down with the former president to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Supercharging thing for them. For their perceived legitimacy, their reach, their ability to get their message out to people, to operate, to recruit, and to do what they want to do, which in this guy's case is turning the United States of America into a whites-only, no Jews allowed fascist homeland under a dictator who he would please like to be Donald Trump. It is hard to have regular, everyday, normal politics alongside this kind of politics, too. But that's where we are. And the violent ultra-right will benefit greatly from this moment, whether or not any right-wing politicians do as well.
Yeah, this is unfortunately who we are right now. Absolutely unhinged. Go ahead and take a look at Trump's response. Apparently Trump's panicking. In the wake of this, probably should be. He should be panicking a little because this is disgusting behavior. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at this.
Marcellus from the Midas Touch Network. Donald Trump is in a complete panic mode right now after hosting a Nazi sympathizer at Mar-a-Lago for dinner during Thanksgiving week. He hosted Nick Fuentes, who has said and done some of the most despicable things imaginable. But Donald Trump was caught hosting Nick Fuentes in a dinner with other notable anti-Semites, including Kanye West and others. And Donald Trump has been just putting out these ridiculous statements. Let me read to you what he just said. He goes, "This past week, Kanye West called me to have dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Shortly thereafter, he unexpectedly showed up with 3 of his friends, whom I knew nothing about. We had dinner on Tuesday evening with many members present on the back patio. The dinner was quick and uneventful. They then left for the airport." Oh, so a very uneventful dinner with just some Nazis.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just don't give a shit. You said he could come over. You know, like, you should probably be a little more aware as a former president who you're fucking having over, don't you think?
At Mar-a-Lago. Okay, here's what Donald Trump then posted again. Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, was asking me for advice concerning some of his difficulties, in particular having to do with his business. We also discussed, to a lesser extent, politics, where I told him he should definitely not run for president. Any voters you may have should vote for Trump. Anyway, we got along great. He expressed no anti-Semitism, and I appreciated all of the nice things he said about me on Tucker Carlson. Why wouldn't I agree to meet? Also, I didn't know Nick.
Oh my God, it's such an afterthought. And like, he said nice things about me on Tucker Carlson. Why wouldn't I agree to meet? Are you fucking kidding me? Anyone who sucks your dick for 5 seconds on Tucker Carlson can go to your house?
Fuentes, why wouldn't you agree to meet? Well, number one, that Kanye West has been saying a number of completely horrific and horrible things about Jewish people, and he's just...
Yeah, actually, that doesn't even address that part. That doesn't even begin to address the part that he's like, I don't know Nick Fuentes, I don't know that Nazi, but like, okay, Ye has been saying anti-Semitic shit for weeks now, and you still had him over, and you just said he didn't say anything there. I mean, like, when he was over at my house, he didn't say anything, you know, like, problematic about Jewish people. So I don't really see the big deal. If he's not being anti-Semitic around me, then like, I don't really care. How is that not being talked about?
Been saying the most disgusting things. So that's reason number one. Number two,
Nick Fuentes is acting as a smokescreen for that.
He was there with an actual Nazi sympathizer as well, and Nick Fuentes, who has said that he supports Putin, and he said that why would it be a bad thing if Putin acts like Hitler, who has made jokes about the Holocaust, who has said horrific things about women. I'll go play at the end of the video things that Nick Fuentes has said in very public forums and with major Republicans. Like Fuentes hosted these events with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others where he's actually said these things.
That makes perfect sense. She said, we are the party of Christian white nationalists. That is Nazis talking. I've been saying Marjorie Taylor Greene is a white supremacist / Nazi for like a couple, like pretty much since then. Yeah, like the 2 pieces of pod right here.
So I help a seriously troubled man who just happens to be black. Ye, Kanye West.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Who just happens to be black? What the fuck? Oh my God, it's so gross.
Who has been decimated in his business and virtually everything else, and who has always been good to me by allowing his request for a meeting at Mar-a-Lago alone so that I can give him very much needed, quote, advice. He shows up with 3 people, 2 of which I didn't know, the other a political person who I haven't seen in years. I told him, don't run for office, a total waste of time, can't win, fake news went crazy. So now you're the victim, number one, and number two, fake news went crazy. How about the fact that you invited a Nazi into your home and hosted a lavish dinner, which was later exposed? How about that? You also said, was it you or was it your lawyer who said that Mar-a-Lago is the most safe and secure place and that no one could be let in who shouldn't be let in? Oh, it was actually you. But also, let's play the clip of your attorney, Alina Habba, also saying that, where she said that Mar-a-Lago was very secure, and that's why, remember, with the documents that you stole, the government records, including top secret records, which you stole from the government and hid in Mar-a-Lago, your defense and your lawyer's defense was, well, it was safe and it was in Palm Beach County, and that's a very
Well, I mean, now there's a Nazi in the house.
very safe county. This is Alina Habba saying how safe Mar-a-Lago is. Play this clip first.
To me, to the untrained eye, a locked door in Mar-a-Lago seems a lot more secure than a Chinese restaurant in a mall, a bowling alley, an Oldsmobile dealership, or Hillary Clinton's bathroom on some server.
Wait, don't forget, Mar-a-Lago, and those that have been fortunate enough to visit Mar-a-Lago know that it is incredibly secure. There are gates, there is private security for the club itself, and then there is Secret Service. And the facts are very clear about one thing, and even the liberal media can't twist this. The DOJ came in June. They said this looks fine, add a second lock to where the boxes were stored. They added a second lock on top of Secret Service, CCTV surveillance, the private club security, the fact that it's in Palm Beach County in Palm Beach, which is one of the safest places I know of.
What? And the fallout continues. You have Steve Bannon basically saying that he believes that Kanye and Nick Fuentes were there as a trolling operation on Donald Trump. Here, this is what Bannon said on his podcast, The War Room.
I'm not surprised Bannon said some whack fucking dumbass shit, but that is the worst. That is the worst pedal back and like trying to like... It's an elaborate troll to try and assassinate Trump's character. Like, Ye hasn't been pro-Trump for the past, like, fucking 8 years.
Earlier in the day. Play this clip.
And did the staff think that this was a good idea to have Kanye West come down and have dinner when the purpose in Kanye West's mind and the people around Kanye West knew exactly what they were doing? Let's just be blunt. It was a troll. You said it was a trolling operation going to go down. They wanted the story to be. They want the story to be that Kanye West in his magnanimously offered Donald J. Trump the vice presidency on his ticket to insult Trump, to put Trump in his place, to make Trump look more irrelevant.
I did think that was funny as fuck. Yeah, like he asked him, "You want to be my VP? You've been struggling. Looks like everyone kind of hates you. You want to be my VP? Because I got the juice." Juice. I said juice. He does not have the Jewish vote. Yeah, he does not have the Jewish vote.
Feed into the Christie, because you saw Bolton and Christie and all these guys jumping on it right away, that he lacks judgment, he's not relevant, he's not focused. So this was well thought through. This just didn't happen, right? The staff should know that. The staff should be on top of that. The staff should be doing interventions into this, if that's the case, and make sure that this type of stuff doesn't happen.
I mean, look, no offense to babies, but like these people treat Donald Trump like he is a baby. So the excuse is that he didn't know who Nick Fuentes is, and that's why and that he should be applauded because he didn't hear Kanye say.
It's on him to know who he's having over to his fucking house.
This is what Nick Fuentes said. He goes, "Wow, what an incredible rally here in Charlottesville. We took mace, pepper spray, our feces. They sent in the National Guard, counter-protesters, and had the governor declare a state of emergency, all to silence us. They know the stakes. You can call us racist, white supremacists, Nazis, and bigots. You can disavow us on social media from your cushy campus reform job, but you will not replace us. The rootless transnational elite knows that the tidal wave of white identity is coming, and they know that once the word gets out, they will not be able to."
You can call us white supremacists. The transnational elite knows the tidal wave of white identity is coming. Oh.
Stop us, the fire
What?
rises. So this is the individual who Donald Trump had over at Mar-a-Lago. This is an individual who now Trump is not even disavowing. I mean, right? Trump is just saying he didn't know who he was, even though there's also reporting from Axios and confirmed by Nick Fuentes that they did discuss who he was, and Nick Fuentes did tell Donald Trump exactly who he was, and Trump knew that he was somebody who was a notable person on the right wing who was been banned for a number of social media platforms. And Kanye West's view of it was that Trump was very impressed by Nick Fuentes, and that Trump hosted this dinner for Kanye, Nick Fuentes, and these other despicable individuals. And let's just pull back for a second here. Notice in Trump's statement too, he doesn't condemn Nick Fuentes. He goes, "Why would this be an issue? What?"
Yeah, no, and I think the obvious reason he hasn't openly condemned is because, like, especially in the last few election cycles, we've seen that white supremacists have been giving money to the GOP and lots of it. So, like, they can't straight up disavow Nazis without taking a huge hit to their money, and they refuse to take that hit to their money, or their voter base.
What's the problem here for me to just invite Kanye over with a few people? Like, what did I do wrong here? And that's everything that's wrong with him and with today's Republican Party. I mean, it is beyond despicable what this modern day Republican Party has become. And there's a reason that former Republicans are now people without a political party, as they've been taken over by MAGA extremists. Independents, non-affiliated voters have all joined in this pro-democracy coalition with Democrats to just have adults in the room. I mean, we should look at what happened with Nick Fuentes going to Trump and condemn it. Yet you still
not just condemn it. It should be like I was saying, it should be a fucking wake up call. It needs to be like a shake awake that, like, things. We are walking a fine line right now, and it is not a line we want to be anywhere near.
Have a political party in the MAGA Republican Party that supports that conduct. That if you criticize Nick Fuentes, if you call out these MAGA Republicans, all of a sudden you're either a rhino or you are a commie, or they just use one of those names to describe you, which is...
I would rather be a commie than a Nazi any goddamn day of the week.
Just kind of utterly absurd how this Republican Party has devolved into it. As we put out on social media today, MAGA Republicans are so dangerous and extreme that they have started to call anyone who says Nazis are bad or refuses to deny the horrors of the Holocaust as a member of the, quote, woke left or a commie. It's modern day McCarthyism, this time enabled by Kevin McCarthy, and that's just who they are. And it's time that the pro-democracy coalition stands together, calls them out each and every time, like we're going to do here on the Midas Touch Network. Share this video.
Yeah, so that's the situation so far. Okay. That was weird. Sorry about that. I don't know how long my mic was fucked up. I really hope that wasn't a thing the whole time.
Into it. Starting with Kanye West not feeling his Kanye best right now. And don't get confused by that sentence. You shouldn't feel bad for Ye right now. Everything that's happening to him right now is a bigoted self-own. This man, I don't think, has ever seen a bridge that he didn't want to burn and then also blame on the Jews somehow. But hey, let's slosh our way through this sloppy mess of a story together. So this most recent situation stemmed from Kanye and white supremacist Nick Fuentes making headlines for dining with Donald Trump, which was so bad that in addition to some Republicans, you even had Mike Pence condemning the move, which is really saying something, because Mike Pence didn't even say,
hey, that wasn't cool about you trying to get people to lynch me,
for months. But the general reaction from most, including those on the right, was, why the fuck would you meet with people that are openly being anti-Semitic? With Trump
also, just say the word Nazi. They're Nazis. I think it's important when you use the word Nazis.
responding saying he didn't know Fuentes was coming, but also not using such harsh language to accidentally offend part of his base, with the situation not stopping Kanye and Nick, and if anything, fueling them to make the rounds elsewhere. With him yesterday being joined by Milo Yiannopoulos on Tim Pool's podcast, and on the podcast, he's essentially being who he's been since he went DEFCON 3. And I'm not going to give unnecessary airtime to the other bullshit that he said in this, but this ultimately gets to a point where Ye said they were trying to put him in jail, seemingly referring to Jewish people as they, and referencing the anti-Semitic conspiracy that Jews control the media, to which Tim says,
I think they've been extremely unfair to you. Who was they, though? We can't say who they is, can we? Press. I'm not using the. I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking about.
It is them, though, isn't it? I mean, because because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not? What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about? Are you leaving?
So he bounces, and Tim goes on to say,
Ye's going to come in here and say, here's my pain, here's my suffering. I'm going to say, I hear you. And then he's going to say, and it was Jewish people.
It's like, it's fucking crazy how like fragile that moment was. It took me, I had to rewind this a few times when I was watching it to figure out why he left. Because I couldn't get over the fact that it was like, it's just on him pushing back on they? What? And like the conversation was a little heated leading up to this, but I don't know. It just reads as so fucking, I don't know. Who's the snowflake now, right? I mean, like, he's walking around in little echo chamber bubbles, and anytime he finds someone with too much pushback, he just leaves.
People, and I'm going to be like, okay, but don't you consider? It's like, I'm not going to do this. I refuse. What do I even do? Other than ask him, please elaborate on this. Are you referring to individuals, or are you quite literally blaming an entire group of people for the fact that powerful individuals are causing you harm?
And all of this is happening as Nick and Milo follow Ye offset. Tim then going on to further discuss Kanye's unwillingness to have a conversation about all this.
I don't like identitarianism. I've never been a fan of people who've blamed everyone else for their problems. In Ye's circumstance, they're coming after him. They're trying to take away his stuff. They're threatening him with institutionalization, and I understand all of that. It's unfortunate that he's internalized this problem to it is a specific ethnic and religious background that's doing it.
And with this, there were two massively different sets of reactions. I was watching it live, and you can also see it in the replay. The chat got filled with Tim Pool saying Tim Pool failed, he dropped the bag, he scared off Ye, pushed too hard. But then on the other side, you had people just absolutely shocked that it took so damn little for Ye to leave. With people like Hassan Piker saying Nick Fuentes and Ye couldn't hold back their anti-Semitism for a second and forced him to push back lightly, causing Kanye to leave abruptly. And with that, a ton of people saying, how the fuck do Kanye 2020
Yeah, no shit. I don't think he plans to show up to the debate stages if this is how this went, because he could. I don't even know if he could handle being told you can't talk right now. All right, like you need to stop talking, because like we've watched him go la 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 la. You know, when like people won't let him talk on the fucking news, like he just starts going la 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 la. You gotta let me talk. You gotta let me talk. There's no way that's gonna fly in a goddamn debate. Like it's holy shit.
Thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Twitch to join us live, like and subscribe, and I will catch you later.